some DokiDoki Love UnHolyc today. We're doing Eater's special story. In the world, there are words that are barely said nor heard. For example, words such as, your tongue must be made of silk, you speak so kindly to William. Or, why are you so touchy? Do you have a guilty conscience because you're so ugly? To Leo. And another would be, Eater, so can I ask you for a favor? Someone asked Eater for a favor? A class noisy from the children who were getting ready to go home after class. At one female student's words, the entire class fell quiet as though a bucket of cold water was thrown over them, and they all looked at Eater, who was sitting at the back of the class. Whether he knew that they were all looking at him with bated breath, Eater quietly regarded the girl who spoke to him, swallowing dryly in anxiety. Although they were students of the same school and the same age, the children treated Eater differently. My boy's so cute! Chilly features as cool as his snow-white hair. Deep and black eyes that looked spaced out or indifferent. Beyond all that, there was a brilliance to calculate and see through everything. Right, he was so brilliant that he felt extra nuance. That girl, how brilliant a favor is it for her to come looking for Eater. And Eater, the strongest of all the wings of Ness. I heard that he's a genius. His IQ surpasses 200, so he even thinks differently from us. Some feared Eater's strength. I know, right? Eater doesn't have so much spare time that he can grant favors. He's always busy protecting the UnHolycs. And some yearn for Eater. And some... should I stop him first in case bloodshed? Regardless, regarded him as a refractory dog. Nothing happened yet, Leo. Don't worry. When did you come here? Not even 10 seconds has passed since the bell rang. Crack, crack, crack. Leo, stop high first. He's chewing on peppermints like popcorn with a face like he's interested to death. His friends that were members of Nest with Eater were all nervous about the situation that were unheard of, where the strange girl came to ask Eater for a favor. What kind of favor could it be? Did humans torment her? Is she asking him to avenge her? Or maybe she's going to ask him to hack into the corrupt organization to avenge her parents' death! Then maybe it could be a love confession? That's it. She's going to confess her love. Jung-hai was one of the students who had watched too much drama. Then behind the extremely nervous girl, a small body peeked out. Sis, can I touch his hair just once? Just a moment. I'm still asking him. By favor, did you mean letting your brother touch Eater's hair? The vastly imaginative children's looks of anticipation changed to looks of disappointment. But on the other terms, the favor was strange and difficult in itself. Has anyone seen anyone touch Eater's hair? I heard that Mr. William once stroked Eater's head. Wasn't that like an urban legend? While the children were gossiping, Eater rose from his seat. Then a dark shadow that was almost ominous cast over the head of the child who wanted to touch Eater's hair. You want to touch my hair? The boy who looked a little restless up till just now stuttered at Eater's coercive vigor. Eater bent down to the boy's eyes level. Thanks to that, the boy felt goosebumps at meeting the eyes that were as deep and dark as the abyss properly. Eater looked at the boy straight in his eyes expressionlessly. Go ahead, if you can. The boy is small, so I should help by bending over. On saying so, Eater slowly raised the corner of his lips. That smile shone as bleakly as the scythe a Grim Reaper held. Ah! I'm sorry, Eater. I asked too much. The girl bent over in apology as though she owed her life to him, then hurried out of the room with her brother. For a moment, an even bleaker silence rang through the classroom. It's going good, Hunter. This is like the third time I've replayed this scene. Hello, Wolf. Hey, Jung-hai, how can you laugh out so loudly? He was almost crying as he laughed, and the other wings were trying their best to hold in their own laughter. They made desperate efforts to keep the least of their manners, so Eater, who was their friend and colleague. What's all this? Why are you all here, and why aren't you going home? Just when they were all twitching, their facial muscles trying to stop themselves from laughing, William leaned slantedly against the door and asked the wings. When William asked, Leo explained the situation that had happened just now. Was that kid an UnHolyc too? So not both. That's not the point, sir. Also, this isn't the first time this has happened. Oh, come to think of it, he made a lost child burst into tears before too, right? He made a child carrying heavy things cry too. Eater's problem is simple. It's because he doesn't smile. I did. He did smile. It was creepy. You call that a smile? How brazen. Wasn't Ted on Eater's side? While the boys chimed in, William was staring at Eater. Do you want us to smile for real? Then, this Mr. William will give you a special lesson. Mr. William strode towards Eater, extended his huge hand, and suddenly held the top of Eater's small head. Then he flexed his hand and turned it so that Eater's eyes were directly forcibly towards the corridor. See that? That will help you with your homework. Katybug? Katybug, who was deeply absorbed in chatting with Shalette and giggling, was at the corridor that Eater was looking at. Yeah, try following her around. Then you'll find out how to smile properly. Sir, you said it was a special lesson, but if you do this, you're just handing over Eater to Lady Katybug. That's right, she's no cohabitant. They live together, so when she dropped into this world, the theories are that William knows that she's not of this world, so he's allowing her to live with him if she didn't have a place to go. What does that have to do with? Anyway, I'll be going. You lot just postponed my getting off work for 10 minutes. William spoke, although no one had stopped him from going home, and really did leave the classroom. Thanks for the lyric, Hunter! Have a great day! And when in time, Katybug in the corridor also started to move, as though she nearly finished talking to Shalette. Having been looking at Katybug, Eater dragged his chair across the floor loudly and stood up. Huh? He really did go after her. Eater hates everything Mr. Williams says, but he does listen to them all. No, but they're talking. That's stalking. That's illegal. When his friends chatted, Eater had soon followed Katybug and disappeared. Katybug, the new student that bothered him, must have had some busy plans, since she moved hurriedly the moment she left the school. She isn't going home? Katybug's feet stopped at the end of a very long line made of people, limited to the first 100 people, high-end gaming mouse discount event. From what he could see, all the people in line in front of Katybug seemed to be waiting to be one of the first 100, for the first-come, first-serve event. From how the line keeps getting longer, it seems to be quite a popular product. Eater settled far away where he could see the crowd and fixed his eyes on Katybug, who stood in the middle. She looked as excited as if she had already bought the gaming mouse. Looking at the rather foolish face, his heart felt ticklish. About 6 people in front of Katybug. She should be safely in the first 100. And when he looked back at her from staring at some other place while thinking, what happened? There was someone else standing where she stood. Thank you so much. My child was coming home from academy soon, so I had to get it quickly. It's alright. If you're busy, then I understand. From what he could see, Katybug seemed to have left the woman behind her get in front. How foolish. Well, at least she can still be in the first 100. Then someone raised their hand on Katybug's shoulder, who was stomping her feet in anticipation. I'm rather sorry, but could you let me go first too? I have to buy that as soon as possible and go home. If you have a guild war, then I guess so. I'll yield to you. She went back again? Even while he thought so, there were more people asking Katybug to yield. Katybug was so back in the line that she wouldn't be in the first 100. I am not that nice. I definitely wouldn't do that. Those brats to cut in line and steal the efforts of someone who got in line on time. They technically didn't steal, though. She let them go in front of her. She was being too kind. Hey, Josh! Oh, nice! Eater was frustrated, but that didn't lessen the number of people in front of Katybug. When time passed and the first came, first served event was over, the people who had stood in line just in case all scattered, with looks of disappointment. Katybug's face was also so full of regret that Eater almost forgot that he was secretly following her and stepped forth to give her a mouse. If she's going to be sad, why did she yield? She stood in line for hours and gained nothing. This time, a few approached Katybug as she was about to leave the event hall. What now? Peddlers said she looked like a pushover. She's just being so outwardly. Miss, thank you back there. Thanks to you, I got to my child's academy just in time for him to finish. I came in here in case you were still here. What a relief. Relief? My foot. She didn't even get to buy her mouse. You know, I managed a dessert shop, calf. If you come, I'll give you one for free. Take this coupon. Wow, thank you. Huh, miss? You were still here? What luck. I was looking for you. Thanks to you, the guild war was a success. Thanks to you, we defended our territory. Defeated! We defeated it! We defeated it! You're protecting your stupid territory with thanks to her wasting her few hours. So, I have a bookstore up front here. I'll always give you a discount when you come. Wow, thank you! Although she failed to buy the mouse she had anticipated so much that she waited in line for hours, a brilliant smile blossomed on Katybug's face. Seeing that from afar, Eater felt the tips of his mouth tingle. But contrary to William's words, the view alone didn't let Eater smile properly. Then I guess there's only one more way. I'll observe. Hey Ted, I'm going to say something important, so listen carefully. I'm going to leave 70% of my assets to you and 30% to Shasha. So if I die, take it and happily... What drama did you watch yesterday to be like this again? No, it's not a drama. I think I'm terminally ill. I've never heard anyone terminally ill to have such strong arms and legs. Ted yelled at the small bunch of muscles, Hi, who was clinging to his body like a koala. Well, when I woke up today, my jaw hurt just from moving, and my mouth was so prickly. What's that if not terminally illness for me to hurt like this so suddenly? You crunched up so many peppermints like popcorn, of course your jaw would ache. Even while scolding him to stop spewing nonsense, Ted didn't shake high off from his back as he entered the classroom. Good morning, and what kind of stunt are you pulling on Ted's back, Hi? Ha, Leo, good morning. I'm expressing the fact that I'm extremely healthy with my entire body. I hope Ted agreed to it. While Claude regarded Ted pathetically, the back door to the classroom opened once again. Good morning, guys! Ah, Katybug, good morning. Ted, let me down. You can get off yourself. Ha, so loud from the morning, right? It's all because they want attention from Lady Katybug. No way, who? Ha, it's good to be so full of energy. Seeing how you're later than us, looks like Mr. William didn't give you a ride. Nope, he said he had teacher training from early in the morning today. He was really irritated, grumbling about how they would do a teacher's training on a perfect day for a drive. He was really irritable for not going for a drive. While Leo glared at the teacher's platform that William normally stood on with faint eyes, his deskmate giggled. At the same time, Eater frowned, on the contrary, while regarding them quietly. Did she really forget failing to buy the gaming mouse yesterday? Eater was feeling displeased, not knowing why he was more bothered about what happened. She's smiling. The guys around her too, they're smiling again. Like the people yesterday. But that was it. Like the second before sneezing, Eater still couldn't smile to his heart's content. Shall I watch a bit more? First period, she laughed at the chatting guy sitting next to her silly jokes. Second period, she smiled kindly at the timid teacher's lousy pun. Third period, she smiled even while dozing off and dreaming. Fourth period, how can she keep smiling like that? So, the other day at work, I was, leaving the back room, and my coworker stopped me, and he's like, hey, what's wrong? And I'm like, what? He's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're not smiling. What's wrong? You always smile. I think I answered him. I don't remember, but I remember smiling after that. How could she keep smiling like that? While Eater's curiosity grew, it was time for lunch. All right, I need to ask Mr. William what's for dinner. Obviously, oblivious to Eater's anguish, she spoke peacefully and rose from her seat. Haha, we just had lunch, but you're already thinking about dinner, Katybug? Does Lady Katybug prepare dinner herself? Of course, Mr. William is in charge of preparing meals. Then why? Then does Lady Katybug prepare the ingredients? Isn't that strange? A lodger to work although she pays. Huh? No. Mr. William is also in charge of preparing the ingredients. Then what are you, Katybug, in charge of? In charge of eating? Then why are you going to ask him what's for dinner? Of course, because I'm curious. Ted looked abashed at Katybug's answer, but Leo smiled so kindly that you could melt. My sister, if her and I aren't doing anything for dinner, like we're not cooking, she'll ask every day what's for dinner. What kind of weird to live with someone who wonders what I make her for dinner. Mr. William really is one lucky man. I'm almost jealous. It's okay, Leo. Just invite her over to your house. I also wonder what Lady Katybug will have for dinner, and which side dish she will enjoy the most with which face. Doesn't Leo seem like he's giving Katybug bad habits? He's overindulging her. Is that something for you, Ted, to say? Claude looked disgusted as he looked at Hai sleeping with Ted's arm in his, like, a bamboo wife. Yeah, I want to know what's for dinner if I'm not cooking. Tonight we're having, I'm making white chicken chili for dinner tonight. Anyway, I'll be back. Careful not to wake Hai. Katybug's feet headed towards the corridor. When Eater, who had been surveying her all along, quietly got to his feet to follow her. Just now, Eater went after Katybug, right? I think so, but what did he get up? Come to think of it, Mr. William took Eater yesterday. If you want to smile properly, try following Katybug. The wing's eyes met in the air. Us too, let's follow them. Hai had no trace of sleep in his eyes as they twinkled with interest and jumped up. Meanwhile, when Eater was trailing along behind Katybug without even knowing why he was doing so, he only got to his senses when he saw Katybug disappear over the door, the teacher's room. This time, I followed her without knowing. At this rate, she's going to find out that I'm following her. Huh, Eater? Do you have something to say to Mr. William, too? She must have opened the door and came out again as Katybug's face was soon right in front of Eater. The students who were walking past them in the corridor somehow slowed down. Katybug's not being awkward towards Eater was still a topic of interest for many students. Wasn't it you that had something to say to William? Right, I did, but he's away for the moment. There was regret in Katybug when she said so, but her features still somehow felt like they were smiling. Shall I ask her directly? Eater recollected the fact that head-on attacks were the best situation at times. Good timing. Let's talk. Hey, Dark Eagle, how's it going? White chicken chili. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. The students who were sneaking peeks at Eater and Katybug's conversation all froze like stone. Okay, I think that was 3. Yeah, haven't done 4 yet. Regardless, Eater pointed at his chin at a corner Regardless, Eater pointed with his chin at a corner of the corridor that headed towards the storage as if telling her to follow him. Why are they headed somewhere so secluded? Like he's going to do something? They get a kiss! Y'all. Y'all, I hope he kisses her, okay? I have an unimaginable love for this man, and they need to kiss. Right, that new girl did act friendly to him, to the strongest in the school. But for a girl and boy to go into such a secluded place just by themselves, it's almost like, is he going to confess his love? I doubt it, but I sure hope so. Jung-hai tended to watch a lot of television series. Obvious to the passing students and his friends watching them from a hidden spot, the two faced each other in the corner of the quiet corridor. Do you have something to tell me? Find it and fix it. We call those fend for yourself nights. Because the power of Husband's is strong with this one. I do. I have something to ask you, to be exact. Oh, sure, what is it? Staring at Katybug's somehow elated face, Eater slowly opened his mouth. You entered a shop to buy yourself a present. What is the first thing that catches your eye? 1, a sketchbook. 2, earphones. 3, an instrument. A mind test? Okay. That is not what I was expecting in the slightest. Not at all. Oh, that's funny. I didn't think he would actually confess, but I didn't think he was going to ask her some random question. They say the difference between a genius and a fool is paper thin. While his friends were dumbfounded from... Where... I guess it depends on the earphone. For me, it would probably be a sketchbook. Because I like to draw. I guess it honestly depends. Like, if it's a nice sketchbook, a sketchbook. If it's the earphones that I have that are like my cat earphones, they catch my attention. If it's a guitar or piano, we're just gonna go with sketchbook. A sketchbook. And she's just docilely answering. Is that so? Then next, you are lost in the forest. Wait, aren't you going to tell her the results? You meet an animal there. Was helped by it and decided to raise the animal once you leave the forest. What animal is it? A dinosaur or white tiger? Oh, a white tiger. They're all animals you can't raise. A white tiger. Alright. As Eater continued his questions, his friend's face turned more eccentric. Only Eater made a face like he understood as he continued his questions. Next, you are cast away on a desert island while no one lives on. She was buying a gift at first. Then she gets lost in a forest. Now she's cast away. She makes a volleyball and calls it Wilson. In the moment of crisis, what is the first thing that you need? Clothes, food, food. Eater was nodding at Katybug's answer and even taking notes. But what do those questions have to do with realizing how to smile? I'm just guessing, but I think that he thinks if he understands more about Lady Katybug, he'll know how to smile. Does he think he can understand Katybug through such psychological tests? Eater always uses his brain too much. While Eater was gossiping behind him, Eater shone his eyes resolutely and asked his final question. Last question. When do you smile the most brightly? When you brought the object you wanted, when you win a fight, when you receive a confession of love. Katybug's forehead that Eater was staring at twitched here and there as though she was carefully choosing the answer. Then she smiled confidently. I had to think because they all look like situations that would make me smile brightly, but it's still number 3. Number 3! Wilson! I'm sorry, Wilson! You smile the brightest when someone confesses their love to you? Yep. If someone you like confesses that they like you, wouldn't you automatically smile most radiantly? Difficult as I thought, but I'll organize the data based on your answers. I don't know what's up, but cheer up. I hope my answers help. Eater nodded slightly and left with his usual mysterious face. I hear Shadow of Mordor is a good game. Katybug also spotted William passing from afar and ran towards him. And the remaining wings. So, what's the answer? I choose an instrument for the first question. A polar bear helped me when I was lost, so I came to live with it. So then what happens? If Eater doesn't find the answers quickly, it looks like the rest of us are going to be neurosis. Looking at the boys shouting the answers to the psychological test with bloodshot eyes, Leo shook his head. It wasn't supposed to be that serious. It wasn't supposed to be that serious. He just wanted to know Katybug's answers. And now he's confused. The poor boy. The poor boy. That night, I even used a popular method of psychology. Oh, what did that say? I totally missed that. I even used a popular method of psychology test, but failed to rise my level of understanding of Katybug. So Eater stayed up late into the night and read an even wider range of information. The information he was so endeavously read were, looks like I approached too easily. Dude, it's not a psychological test. You just need... Oh, poor child. I can't gain information easily simply by following her using ordinary means. For that, I need to follow the method many people use of ancient times. Like this. Peter, what are you wearing? Wearing... okay, it's supposed to be a disguise. Eater looked at him. Okay, look. Dude, you stick out like a sore thumb. You have a polka dotted bandana, black glasses, a muzzle, and a yellow jumpsuit on. You're not fooling anyone, my dude, I'm sorry. I finally have completed the standard procedures for following. Tomorrow, I am reborn. As Eater, the spy. Good luck with that. Let me know how that goes. I guess we'll find out. Let's keep going. Ding dong, ding dong. When the bell rang, signaling the end of class, the students picked up and left the classroom. See you tomorrow, Lady Katybug. Safe journey home. When Leo bade farewell like a knight seeing off a princess, Leo's desperate Katybug blushed again at the smile she saw every day, nodded, and left. I think Katybug is so adorable. How can she be shy every time? Don't think that all people in the world could be as insecure as you, Junhai. But it is a bit interesting. Immune, do they call it? Shouldn't she be immune if she sees it every day? Looks like it's you guys that don't know that you haven't developed a tolerance. Leo spoke as if they were once the ones that were adorable. The fact that Lady Katybug is adorable, you guys are the ones that repeat it every day. Do we sound so much like parents? Come to think of it, I kind of think so too. No, but we have it better. The worst of us. Cloud pointed at Eater's seat, which was soon empty. Is Eater that's been following Katybug for days now. He's still doing it, meaning he still hasn't figured out the answer yet? That means he still hasn't figured out Lady Katybug out yet. That guy who can solve problems even adults can't solve is lost. When Ted spoke like it was absurd, High grinned next to him. It's nearly over though. According to my senses, it says Eater is soon going to find out how to smile for real. I'm here for this. As his friend said, Eater had been following Katybug for days now. The Katybug he had seen so far was suffering losses from her near-foolish consideration, or Katybug who disappeared from insufficient choices. Despaired from insufficient choices. Or Katybug who went through situations that did not look at all fun to others. She did go through some bad things, but if I see the total of cases, Katybug's days are normally eventful and full of cumbersome events. Don't people normally refer to that as unlucky? Even when she smiled or laughed out loud. Even a while ago she had tripped and nearly fell, then stepped into some muddy pool. She was flustered at first, but then she burst out into laughter. I thought it was about time I washed my sneakers. Now I really have to. Is that something to laugh about? But Eater was someone who was trailing Katybug from behind. For someone who was following her for at least 10 steps away from the opposite street, there was no point in saying that out loud. Then, the event that estimated as the climax of misfortune for the day happened. Hey, you there! A boy that looked like a delinquent from whatever direction he looked strode from behind Katybug and shouted in a loud voice. His voice was so loud that even Katybug turned back. Then the two made eye contact. It would be better for her to not mingle with such a guy if she turns away and pretends not to see anything. Right, you who just looked back. His target was Katybug? The delinquent walked faster to approach Katybug. The man who looked threatening was a human, and around him came comrades who seemed to follow him. A delinquent and a human to boot. Do they know Katybug's identity? The type that hates UnHolyc, hostile to Nestwing? Eater felt frustrated that he was undercover while following Katybug. And for some reason, there weren't that many people on the street today. Meanwhile, the man that looked like bandits were getting even closer to Katybug. The man seemed to be talking to Katybug, but he must have been talking quietly since Eater couldn't hear it from afar. If it were for Katybug's power, she would be able to easily subdue that group. Then the man raised his hands as to touch Katybug's shoulder. How dare! His eyes turned red! I'm here. I love it. Roar! At the same time as Eater, who somehow felt a surge of anger, flexed his legs to run towards Katybug. Eater! Eater's name burst out of Katybug's mouth. About to instructively run, Eater stopped in his tracks. She called my name. Katybug's eyes were directly at the exact place Eater was standing. Like a knight answering a call, Eater ran and stood between the man and Katybug. The street that were more secluded today, with no people or passing cars, this time Eater felt like it was the environment for him to run to Katybug in the shortest way possible and was thankful. I'm here. You called? Well, he really changed quickly, by the way. Like, dang, quick change artist. His absurd bandana had long since slipped down. Who are you? Don't interrupt. Interrupt. When Eater made a dangerous face, there was a feeling of intense pressure incomprehensible to the one of the man in front of his bumpy features made. Eater stood as if to hide Katybug's body behind his back and glared at the man. Who are you to block her way? I am, The man figure was somehow strange. He did look flustered at seeing Eater, but the blushing face and sweating neck didn't look like they were because of Eater. The one he immediately intimidated by was, in fact, Katybug, who was speaking out from behind Eater. I'm a man who likes Miss Katybug for a long time! No, we gotta love confession. We gotta love confession! I wasn't expecting this. What a nice surprise. Eater turned his head slowly and quietly asked Katybug, who was hiding behind his back, "Did you already headbutt him or something? He's waffling. No, he said that from the start, even though I didn't headbutt him." Katybug spoke as though she too didn't understand. Then that means that this guy in front of me really could have a crush on Katybug? He looks so mad! When he thought so, he felt an unpleasant feeling incomprehensible to before bubble up from his insides. As Eater's expression hardened, the delinquent, or the man they called the delinquent anymore, looked visibly flustered. You, who are you to stand in front of Miss Katybug to interrupt me? Don't call me Miss Katy. That face! Oh my goodness, that face! Oh, hold on. Oh, hold on. Perfect. Miss Katybug, I am sincere. When you fill me... When you filled me some time ago at the park, I felt love. He was one of those? So please? I'm sorry, but he's my boyfriend. Katybug's two hands pointed at Eater's face like a critter who was introducing a piece of art. Curator introducing a piece of art. No way, I checked that Miss Katybug doesn't have a boyfriend. He's only a wing, so a colleague of yours. When the delinquent squeaked and tried to express his feelings again, Eater pulled Katybug's hand that was pointing at him and took her into his arms. I need a picture of this. Can you please illustrate this? Maybe because he had run in explosive speed just now, Eater's chest was touching Katybug's back, was thumping loudly. Katybug, don't say that. Why should you be sorry that I'm your boyfriend? When Eater himself mentioned the word boyfriend, the delinquent, but now only a boy who had come to confess his love, froze in shock. Liar, what boyfriend makes such a scary face in front of his girlfriend? I only look like this because of you. Shut up, you liar! You appeared all of a sudden and I was behind Katybug all along. Hugging Katybug from behind, Eater turned her body so that she met his eyes. He was the one that suddenly appeared. Although he wasn't asking Katybug, he spoke while looking at her. Eater's head bowed down a little and made a light shadow above Katybug's head. Under the cool shadow, Eater's warm breath caressed Katybug's forehead, on which hot lips softly... He can't kiss her! Dude, he's wearing a muzzle! Like, you know that logically doesn't make sense, right? Like, he would have to take off his muzzle to kiss her forehead. Okay, whatever. I told you that I'll walk you home even if the direction is different. In case those things appear. Eater slowly took his lips away from Katybug's forehead and turned to look at the delinquent. So, kiss off! When he said so, Eater felt unspeakably refreshed and felt his face with a smile. Ah, Hugh, I'm coming back for you. Just, you see. She has legs! She does! The boy, who was so panicked that he didn't realize that he was uttering third-rate villain lines, took his friends and quickly disappeared from view. I know, it's magical, right? Like, I have legs! The boy wasn't the only one in panic, and Katybug was stuttering and frozen on the spot. Eater detached himself slowly from Katybug, then looked down with his pitch-black eyes to look at her. Eater, you're, so cool! Can I call you... Why would you call me 8? I'm just curious. Is that all you have to say? Of course not! In front of Eater, who had lowered his voice to a growl, she bowed at 90 degrees. I apologize for bringing you into a difficult situation and asking for help. Ata. Oh, yeah, sure, then. I don't mind. Go for it. I feel... Oh, yeah! No, but you can totally use honorifics. That's totally fine. How did you know I was behind you? How could you not? Eater, if you really don't know, shall I tell you? You are really conspicuous. So I knew from the first day. Today's the 4th day, right? She smiled in front of a shocked Eater. I don't know the reason, but since Eater would never cause me harm, I just left you to it. But should I have pretended not to know? If she did, that delinquent might have been even more wild. So Eater replied without hesitation. No. Huh, really? What a relief. Can I say one more thing? The bandana you were wearing looks so cute. She's smiling again. Oh! There we go. What are we wedding the hecking? She's smiling again. The moment Eater faced Katie. The fact that he had smiled when he drove away the delinquent was already faint. So, to speak, since Eater looks like he has quite the talent, can you do it for just one more day, pretending to be my boyfriend? What? Then I'll grant you one wish. Prompt, please? When she asked him so fervently, Eater started to quickly calculate. I was going to follow her around anyway, so if I'm with her, next to her... Alright. Wow! Thanks! Then see you the day after tomorrow, on Saturday at 1 p.m. at the square. Looking at Katybug, who seemed so happy at something he couldn't understand, Eater's lips twitched again. Having brightly said goodbye, Katybug slowly drifted away. Standing in the empty street alone, Eater was looking at her completely disappear. The day after tomorrow, 1 p.m., the square. Hammering the important information into his head, he recollected how he had failed shadowing her at the same time. Looks like my preparations weren't enough in that case. Looks like I should do a face-to-face investigation this time too. Resolving to himself, he turned in the opposite direction towards his own home, oblivious to what ripple his face-to-face investigation would bring to the school tomorrow. I'm home! Hey, cohabitant. I'm not a cohabitant, I'm a lounger. I'm brewing that hot pot you always wanted. Maybe this is why you need a cohabitant. William chuckled at his cohabitant that was wiggling her bottom in joy. Oh, right, I'm going out Saturday. You mean that game center event you mentioned? But you said you couldn't enter unless you're with another guy. I have the damn second teacher training, so I don't have time. Don't say damn teacher training, you're a teacher. And I'm alright, there's a guy who will go with me. When she spoke brightly, William frowned while chopping up green onions. A guy? But his cabin had already gone into her room in high spirits. Yeah. Eater, Eater, Eater. That sounds weird chanting his name like that. Feels wrong, man. Oh, let me... Boop. Boop, boop. There we go. Break time when Katybug's seat was empty. The wings were gathered in one place and sighing. The fact that Eater had been following Katybug for days now was starting to worry the wings. So what happened to the polar bear, huh? The polar bear! Come to think of it, I always wanted a sketchbook as well as an instrument. Can I change my answer? A psychological test only works if you choose your answers intuitively. Hey, is the psychological test important right now? It is! It's so important, we just don't understand. Shall I just put them to sleep? The two didn't really know that Leo had gripped his fist under the table while displaying a refreshing expression. No matter how frustrated we are, it's probably incomparable to how frustrated Eater is. I hope he relies on others at times like this. Eater rely on us? Not in 100 years. Ted spoke bitterly and rose from his seat. If you're going to find Katybug without us, knowing to gain points, I'm going to hate you, Daddy. You just sleep like you always do. I'm only going to the restroom. Ted pressed Hi's head, telling him to stop waffling, then left the classroom. Oh, I'll get going to some class materials. They asked me to. Okay, so in the original game, Ted is Hi's adopted dad. Huh? Then I guess I should go back to my class too. Bye, guys. I'm going to take a nap. You're already asleep. The boys scattered for a moment. I know none of us is exactly normal, but to be unable to smile properly, Eater. On returning to the classroom from the restroom, Ted felt sorry for Eater. Either nothing made him smile until now, or if he's never been allowed to, it would be nice if Eater relied on them like Claude said. Eater emerged, and his normally unfathomable eyes were blazing as though on fire. Also, I like his hair like that. Ted, I was just looking for you. Huh? I have something important to say. Something to say? I meant, what's wrong with that? Look, I mean, what are you wearing? But Eater's advisor was so frightening that Ted could only swallow the rest of his words. What? This guy, is he annoyed at me for something? A strong wing of nest, Ted swallowed dryly as he waited for Eater to continue. You skiing. Ski? If you met a steep slope while skiing, what are your first thoughts? Ted briefly stuttered at the dissonance of Eater's voice, expression, and the words that came out of his mouth. But soon he got to his senses and opened his eyes properly. Come to think of it, this is the first serious question Eater has ever asked me. Ted rolled his head nervously as if the question Eater brought up was a once-in-a-lifetime challenge. I'm skiing and I'm at a steep slope, right? I never went skiing before, but I think about it. I would worry. If it's such a dangerous slope, wouldn't the others get hurt? So that's what you think. Alright. Is that it? Right, it helped. Huh? It helped? Haha, great! Well, Ted was feeling proud of himself. Eater returned to his normal, unfathomable expression, passed Ted's side, and headed somewhere else. Ted felt as such as if a dog he raised had matured and called him Dad. Although dogs would never call their owners Dad, however mature they are. Alright, I have to tell the big news to the others. Ted dashed to and opened the door with immense force. Hey, big news, major news. Guys, something big happened. Are you all here? Well, guess what happened? The moment Ted crashed open the back door, Claude opened the front door, and Leo the window and shouted, Huh? Huh? What's all this so loud? Kai woke up from the commotion and raised himself up, while the three wings, who had all run, shouting all at once at each other in confusion. I don't know what's happening here, but let's talk one by one. Leo calmed down first and called the boys to their seats. Don't be surprised. Eater actually asked me a question, but unlike excited Ted, the other wings only made an odd expression. What? What's this? What's this reaction? I just kind of consulted Eater. Me too, that's why I'm running. Eater, what happened while I was asleep? Putting their heads together, they found out that Eater had asked all the wings questions except for Sleeping High. Boo! Our Eater is all grown up, asking opinions to those around him. I was really touched too, and it seems to be such an important question, so I answered him really earnestly. I racked my brain to answer him too. He somehow looked serious. What did Eater ask you guys? If you met a steep slope while skiing, what are your first thoughts? You met a doll in a dark bush. Then whose face comes to your mind? There is a cake in front of you. How many candles are lit? They all seem like mysterious questions. Could it be that something happened to Eater? Hey, I think I know what they are all. Having completely woken up from his sleep, Pai chimed in with a peppermint between his tongue. Dude, that kid's gotta stop chewing on peppermints. He's just gonna destroy his teeth. There's a popular psychology test on the internet. A psychology test? Come to think of it, didn't Eater do a psychology test on the Decay Bug as well? Then Shanghai, do you know what those tests mean? Yes, while skiing, I made a steep slope, found a doll in the bushes and a candle on the cake. They are all sentences predicting one's fortune, under the pretense of being big psychological tests. Hai narrowed his eyes as he smiled like a skilled fortune teller. For example, the question with skiing is, will it be an accident when dating? The question about the doll is, in the bushes, about how cool I look to my opponent when dating. What? What? I don't know, y'all. I don't know about this. This seems a little fishy. But hey, we'll find out, I guess. Also, like, how does Hai know this? The cake candle count question tells you how many times will that person heart flutter because of me when we're on a date. But why are they all about dating? That's because they're all sentences to use when you have a date. That means, right, it really was a relationship counseling. For real? The four friends who had racked their brains to think when Eater was consulting them felt a little empty on the contents of something close to normal dating counseling as they gathered up all the questions just like I said. Well, at least it's a relief that Eater doesn't have a big problem. I was actually quite worried in case he had something really big happening and he had to consult us for it. Well, I don't think it's time for us to be relieved. The boys that raised their head at Claude's remark looked at where his finger was pointing the window that reflected the corridor. Eater was there. For Eater to talk to so many people at once. Exactly, I thought he would do such things until yesterday. What change of heart did he go through? I updated my computer a few days ago, and it became a completely new machine. Hi, Eater isn't a machine. Leo approached the two people, shining their eyes in interest from behind and booped them on their heads. Anyway, shouldn't we stop him? I think all the guys passing are getting scared. Not all of them, though, thankfully. As Leo said, some students were desperate not to meet Eater's eyes, while some girls had looks of anticipation on their faces at the chance to talk to Eater for the first time. Maybe Eater may be able to learn and earn many more things than just smiling for this. Leo smiled maturely. Rather, this all adds up to this. Eater's going on a date with someone. If Eater's going on a date with someone, isn't that obviously Katybug? The two of them on a date? Hai looked green with envy as he trembled. Alright, then Katybug's next weekend is mine. Does Lady Katybug have a say in that? But Hai was already oblivious to Leo's words. Then, shall I take the next week? Then I'll take the week after. While they were all after Katybug's weekend schedules, the bell rang to signal the start of class, and they all returned to their class. Katybug also returned to her seat. Katybug, next week is mine, okay? Huh? The week after is mine, and the week after that is mine. You go back to your own class. I don't mind weekdays, Lady Katybug. So what is... While she looked confused, Eater surveyed her while thinking of various scenarios, and time passed quickly. They're all like, Katybug, date me! To become the long-awaited Saturday. We have two more, and that's it! The long-awaited Saturday was here. Eater, here! The two had met each other in uniforms, although it was the weekend, looked just like they did on weekday, going to school. However, Eater and Katybug looked more nervous than usual. Eater, hear me out. The reason I asked for you to come today, the two walked the street towards their destination. There's an event exclusive to couples at the game center. They're going to give a couple product exclusives to the event to the winning couple. Notice me, senpai! Notice me! Notice me! Give me all of your attention, and love, and devotion. Yep, of course they're going to give them the gaming mouse with the best specifications, as well as a game pack that's hard to find because it's discontinued. Gaming mouse. They obviously pick the winner through a game, and it's a tournament form, and a couple becomes a team to participate. One team. I'm confident at the game part, so all you, Eater, need to do is just do your best next to me. The victory will be ours. Our names will be there side by side on the game center wall. Names side by side. Each time Katybug explained, Eater slowly nodded and chewed over a few specific words inside his head. And that was waiting for the two when they arrived in front of the game center. Urgent, temporarily closed. The event has been postponed to the following month because of the broken machine. Oh no! Katybug's eyes, which had been sparkling in anticipation, filled with despair. The game pack I would have won a surprise today. I had a whole month planned for that. Katybug's face smile darkened for the first time. Then the memory of a day he didn't want to remember suddenly fitted through his head. My crazy face? What's my crazy face? It's all because of you that I became so unlucky. How my entire future is a mess. It's all because of you. There was a shadow that no one can erase on the screaming woman's face. She spoke. All the people around you become unlucky. You are a lump of disaster that makes everyone around you sad. She had smiled at Katybug at first. No, he couldn't quite remember such a face, but she probably did. But... Eater! When he came back to his senses, Katybug's face was so close to his that its entirety filled his vision, and she was smiling faintly again. Eater, what are you thinking? Why are you smiling? You, why are you smiling right now? The game event that you anticipated so much just fell off the hook. Your daily plan, no, your monthly plan just got ruined. Why are you smiling? As Eater's question about how he couldn't understand her, Katybug's smile thickened. Is that what you want to know? Then shall we eat first? Eater, you freed your weekend for me. It would be sad for us to just return like this. Katybug's hand took Eater's wrist, which was still a little cool, even under the warm sunlight. Let's see, what should we eat? What do you normally eat, Eater? Vitamins, calcium supplements, omega-3, and... What? How about meals? This is not happening. Follow me. Oh, my, heart eyes? They're not that bad, okay? I mean, like, let's be real here. Soon, the zeal that had filled her face before, knowing that the game center was closed, had filled it again. For someone who always got lost, the time she arrived at the main street properly, still holding on to one of Eater's hands, she properly walked down the street, twinkling with pretty shops. They say you spend a lot of time in front of a computer. Who said who? I did. And you stay in dark places for a long time too? Who said? Leo did. And that you stay up all night often? Is that Claude? No, you're fine. I'm just teasing. Ha, yeah. And Ted said that he was worried because you don't even blink when you concentrate. He felt like he could hear the kind voices of the boys who make a ruckus and stick to him no matter how much he pushed them away and missed the throng that filled the main street. They say seafood is good for people with similar lifestyles as you. So today we're going to have seafood spaghetti. Eater had let the name of the menu that he couldn't even remember out of one ear and concentrated on looking at the back of Katybug's head. How Eater stared at her without even blinking, like Ted had worried, was a little scary, but at the same time he looked adorable, like a child who was absorbed in a toy he had seen for the first time. But, urgent, temporary close. We are closed for the day because the kitchen equipment are broken. When they stood in front of the restaurant that they looked up, there was a similar note stuck on its door. No! Katybug's face seemed to fall in despair, but she cheered up even faster than the previous time. Alright, should we go to the next restaurant quickly? She took Eater's wrist and strode on swiftly. However, don't you say that we're busy because it's... Don't you see that we're busy? And you two kids, they're not even customers. At the second restaurant, they were all unintentionally refusement. Seeing how he's glancing at our uniforms, it looks like he won't let us in because we're UnHolyc. Eater noticed, but he stayed silent because he was curious what Katybug's next reaction would be. Are you not letting us in because we're UnHolycs? How come? What's wrong with me choosing my own customers at my own shop? Fine then. You do make sense. Let's go, Eater. She surprisingly accepted it coolly and pulled Eater's hand again. Having turned her back on the restaurant, she smiled like a villain. Not letting customers in like us in, it's their loss. Why? Because I was going to eat so much! Katybug's attitude was resolutely determined that for a moment Eater thought she was quite fun. Fun? The thought that had popped into his head, Eater halted briefly in surprise. Aww! Eater knew that people burst out in laughter when they felt fun. Then, if I'm next to Katybug, maybe I too can. But before Eater could realize anything else, the two were refused entry from the third restaurant. Again the fourth and the fifth. Soon it was way past lunchtime rumble. Only then did Eater regret not showing his anger at the restaurant owners to observe Katybug's reaction. Thankfully, the two finally took their seats at the sixth restaurant they visited. Haha, it feels like I went on a treasure hunt, sitting on an outside table making me feel like we're on a picnic. You sound happy. Of course, since I like games of all sorts, treasure hunts, landmines, I like them all. Anyway, Katybug looked happy again, and Eater didn't want to ruin it. In fact, the one to ruin it was the manager of the restaurant. Madam, I'm sorry, but we are all out of ingredients for your ordered menu. Then could you change it to this menu? Sure, will do. Please wait a moment. But a few moments later, madam, I'm sorry to tell you, but the ingredients for that menu are all out too. That too, then we'll change it to this one. Bet it's out, but again, a few moments later, madam, we deeply apologize, but... Unable to hold his rage, Eater jumped up and held the manager by his collar. Is this some new method of tormenting people to let them into the restaurant but not take their orders? That's not it. We really prepared too little ingredients. Then you should have said you don't have it from the beginning. My apologies. While Eater was growling at the manager, Katybug unexpectedly didn't stop him. In the end, the manager bowed an apology and then only escaped Eater's hands. I apologize, so please take this. He pushed a wrapped piece of bread into Katybug's hands as he bowed once again. How are you? Okay, like, I totally understand restaurants being out of stuff, but being out of that much stuff, that's just... yikes. The sun was slowly setting as they left the last restaurant, and as they walked on, the sky soon turned dark. Hey, Eater, today was really spectacular, right? What? Spectacular? Ha! Look at this. The bread we got at the last restaurant, it's gone bad. Katybug's hands just managed Eater's from going back the way they came and turned the restaurant upside down. Getting angry is a waste of energy. Now I really have to eat. After saying so, she looked happy at the light in the conversation, a convenience store nearby, and ran towards it. Soon she left with an armful of food. Then she briskly moved towards the park with its lights off. At the entrance of the park, there was a large tape like a police line, and a signpost was up next to it. Urgent, prohibited from entry after the sun sets due to landscaping work, access is prohibited. Notice that started to feel like someone's intentional plot found the two again. But instead of waiting or watching Katybug's reaction, Eater took the food in Katybug's arms into his own. Then he ripped off the prohibition tape at the entrance and strode inside. Come here. Huh? Okay. She seemed to be surprised for a moment, but soon approached Eater's side with a joyful expression. The two people unpacked their food on the bench in the deserted and dark park, and sat on either side of the bench. What should I have first? She even seemed to find that joyful. How can you smile like that? Huh? Chewing a mouthful of bread, she asked back. The game center event was canceled, the restaurants were closed, all the restaurants refused to let us in, and the food was rotten. And even the park we came to at the end was closed, but then how can you still smile? Only bad things happened to you today. Because better things happened. Although the game center was canceled, you spent all weekend with me, and each time I was refused from the restaurant, you stayed by my side. And at the end, you even were angry for me as a manager. Soon she had finished the bread she was munching on as she spoke. It was all thanks to you that my day ended so well. It's thanks to you that I can smile. Katybug's face smiled brightly as if she could lighten even the park where the lights were turned off in such a place. Joy that no one could interfere with. Then Eater's mother's face that had been hollowing inside his head for who knows when scattered like smoke and disappeared completely. Eater, you asked me, right, about why I smile? I want to ask you something too, can I? Why are you smiling as of now? I'm smiling? Eater fumbled as he reached up and touched his... I guess he could poke... He could get his fingers through the muzzle. The feeling at the end of his lips that were naturally raised, not awkwardly or terrifying, felt strange. I am smiling, for real. And shall I remind you of another joyful fact? Since you hung out with me for the day, you can ask me for a wish like we promised. Right, she said she'd grant me a wish. This time, Eater really did want to smile for real. Do you have a wish in mind? I do. Eater didn't even hesitate for a second as he replied. Huh, really? What is it? Eater spoke as he brushed off the breadcrumbs around Katybug's mouth. Go on dates with me. Sorry, I'm fangirling over here. I'm so happy! I wasn't expecting this! Oh. Oblivious to the fact that today was the very definition of a date itself, Katybug's face soon flushed scarlet. Eater simply looked at Katybug's reaction in joy. On Eater's lips, that said those words was the most wonderful smile ever. Okay, you know what? That was really freaking heckin' cute. That was so freaking adorable. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I might stream tomorrow. Not sure, but I'll definitely, if I'm not back tomorrow, the rest of the week, I'll be back Friday. Going forward, I'm gonna try to keep my schedule to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes I'm big brain. As always, remember to eat some food, get some sleep, and drink some water because you are important and so is your health. I will catch y'all later. And thanks for hanging out with me. When did you come? Oh, no, stop. Ah, dang it. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, we gotta start over. I'm sorry. I hit the button by accident.